You think you see everything coming. You think you have thick skin. You don't. Manipulation isn't a dark alley threat. It's the slow drip in your own kitchen. It changes how you see reality. Today, we break down the 12 hidden mechanics of modern psychological manipulation. And trust me, the last one will feel like a punch to the gut. Number 12. Gaslighting light. It's not the dramatic movie version. It's the subtle erasure of your memory. You mention a promise made last Tuesday. They look at you, completely blank. I never said that. The air goes thin. Your brain scrambles for proof. You start double-checking your own sanity. Did I imagine the email? Did I mishear the tone? It's that cold sweat when you realize your own recollection is being actively edited. Their defense is simple. You're being too sensitive, or you always remember things wrong. Next time, don't argue the memory. State the anchor point. Say, my notes clearly show X. Stick to the objective artifact, not the feeling. Number 11. Manufactured scarcity. This isn't about limited stock on a website. This is about emotional availability. They make their approval, their affection, or their time feel like a finite resource you must constantly earn. You feel it when you wait 3 days for a reply to a simple text. That low-grade anxiety humming in your chest, wondering if you said the wrong thing. They are rationing their presence. They only become fully engaged when you pull back slightly. The moment you lean in, the door closes a fraction. Your reaction is to chase harder. Don't chase the ration supply. Become your own source. When they pull back, you pull back further. Create space. Their attention must become the secondary resource, not the primary goal. Number 10. The appeal to authority, internalized. This is when they don't quote someone else. They quote your own established identity against you. A person like you wouldn't do something so messy, or you're smarter than this. It forces you to comply just to protect the image they've projected onto you. You feel a deep, almost physical need to prove their assessment correct. You become your own warden. The pressure builds. You take on extra work just to prove you are the reliable. You avoid necessary conflict to prove you are the mature. When they try to box you in with your own reputation, reject the premise. Say, my identity is flexible. I am allowed to change my mind, regardless of what I did yesterday. Number 9. Emotional contagion. We've talked about how external threats trigger us. This is internal. They project an overwhelming, often irrational emotion onto you until you absorb it as your own. Picture this. You're having a calm conversation. Suddenly, they are radiating panic or profound offense. Their breathing changes, their eyes widen. You instantly feel the knot tighten in your own stomach, even though nothing has actually happened to you. You start apologizing for things you haven't done, just to quell the emotional tsunami rolling off them. You feel responsible for managing their internal weather. Remember that emotion is not evidence. When they spike the mood, take a deliberate, slow breath. Mentally label the feeling you are experiencing. This is manufactured anxiety, and refuse to act on it until you are calm again. Number 8. The Trojan horse. Compliment. It sounds like praise, but it carries a payload of critique. That presentation was surprisingly good, considering how little time you had. Or, you look great today, I almost didn't recognize you. It bypasses your defenses because it's wrapped in validation. The compliment feels good for a second, then the barb sinks in. You left feeling simultaneously flattered and diminished. The structure is always positive statement times qualifier times negative implication. You focus on the positive and ignore the poison. Next time you hear on, surgically remove the positive part. Respond only to the implication. If they say the first one, you try to reply, I had exactly the right amount of time. Number 7. Weaponized vulnerability. This is different from genuine sharing. This is strategically deploying past trauma or weakness to shut down current criticism. You try to set a boundary, they immediately pivot. After everything I told you about my childhood, how could you ask me to do that? The boundary dissolves under the weight of their past pain. It forces you into the role of caretaker, not equal. You feel guilty for asking for basic respect because you know their history. The heat rises to your cheeks because you feel like a monster. You can validate the past without surrendering the present. Acknowledge the history, then redirect. Say, I respect what you went through. That doesn't change the need for us to stick to this agreement now. Number 6. Forced false dichotomies. This is the my way or the highway tactic, but dressed up as logic. They present two choices. One is obviously terrible. The other is their preferred outcome. It feels like you're being backed into a corner, like the walls are closing in. You think, well, I can't choose option A, so I must choose option B. You never consider option C. They hide the third best option. Maybe option A is work late tonight and option B is quit. They omit option C. We reorganize the workflow tomorrow. When presented with two choices, pause. Take a full 5 seconds. Then ask, very calmly, what does option C look like? Force them to build a third door. Moving on, we enter the top half of the list. These tactics are more insidious. They don't just attack your actions. They attack your perception of the relationship itself. Number 5. Projection and blame shifting. You notice they are consistently late. You point it out. Suddenly, you are the problem. I'm late because you never remind me clearly. Or, I'm defensive because you always attack me. They are experiencing a negative trait, and instead of owning it, they wallpaper it onto you. You spend all your energy defending against accusations that actually describe them. It feels exhausting, like trying to clean a mirror while someone else is breathing fog onto it. You feel defensive, reactive, and completely off balance. The defense here is to name the shift immediately. Don't defend the original point. Address the deflection. Say, we are talking about your tardiness. Let's keep the focus there. Number 4. The intermittent reinforcement loop. This is the most addictive form of control. It's the core mechanism behind slot machines. They are inconsistent with their rewards. One day, they are the most loving, supportive person you've ever known. The next day, they are cold and distant for no reason you can identify. That inconsistency creates an obsession. You are constantly scanning their behavior for the good version. You work harder, apologize faster, just to get that brief, unpredictable hit of positive feedback. That hope is the lock-picking your willpower. Because the reward is unpredictable, your brain releases dopamine searching for the next hit. You become hooked on the chase, not the connection. Stop chasing the unpredictable reward. Make your own reward system consistent. Only engage fully when their behavior is stable and respectful for a sustained period. Withdrawal is necessary. Number 3. Love bombing, followed by devaluation. This one is brutal because it starts with euphoria. Initially, they flood you with attention. Excessive gifts, constant affirmation. You feel seen for the first time. The intensity is intoxicating. Then, the switch flips. Slowly, or sometimes instantly, the praise turns to criticism. The attention turns to neglect. They are calibrating your baseline. They want you to remember how good it was, so you tolerate how bad it is. The gap between the high and the low is where they exert total control. You spend all your energy trying to get back to that initial, perfect state. The moment you feel that intense, overwhelming rush of early affection, be skeptical. Ask yourself, is this sustainable? If the answer is no, treat the high with caution. Your defense is to maintain moderate, steady engagement, regardless of the initial fireworks. Number 2. Creating learned helplessness. This is the slow erosion of your competence. They subtly undermine your ability to handle basic tasks or decisions, making you reliant on them. They helpfully take over the bills because you get stressed. They fix your work emails because you sound too aggressive. They step in every time you struggle, not to support, but to demonstrate your incapacity. You start hesitating before picking up the phone or opening the utility portal. A small voice whispers, "Just ask them, it's easier." That whisper is the cage door locking. This tactic thrives on you fatigue. Your counter move is radical self-sufficiency. Take back one small area you let them manage. Schedule, the finances, the grocery list. Handle it perfectly, openly, and without asking for feedback. Rebuild the muscle they tried to atrophy. And now, the final mechanic. That requires you to check your own reflection. Number 1. Self-doubt amplification. This isn't them telling you you're wrong. This is them perfectly mirroring your deepest, most private insecurity back at you, disguised as concern. You worry you aren't ambitious enough. They say, "I'm just worried you're settling for mediocrity." You fear you aren't a good partner. They say, "I only bring this up because I love you, but sometimes I wonder if you're truly committed." It feels devastating because they are using your own blueprint against you. The words hit harder than any external insult because they confirm your own worst fears. They weaponize your internal monologue. This is the apex of psychological warfare because the manipulator doesn't need to lie. They just need to know your weak spot and point a spotlight on it. Your defense is absolute sovereignty over your own internal narrative. When they voice your fear, do not engage the content. Engage the source. Look them in the eye and say, "That is my thought, not yours. I will handle my own self-doubt." Every time you recognize neither of these mechanics, erasure, the rationing, the false choice, you reclaim a piece of your mental territory. Manipulation only works in the dark corners of assumption. Shine a light on the mechanics. See the pattern. Stop reacting. Start choosing.